And so the will of God, summarily speaking, what God has in mind concerning every one of us, summarily speaking, is for us to be like him. For us to do what? To be like him, living in intimacy and worship of him, and on the strength of that intimacy, draw strength to advance his kingdom. God wants you to what? To be like him, living in intimacy and worship of him, and on the strength of that intimacy, draw resources to advance his kingdom. And so if you are summarizing the will of God in three, is that number one, you become like God. That's why Genesis chapter 1 verse 26, it says God said, let us make man in our own image. Paul speaking, he said, henceforth know we no man after the flesh. So the will of God for you is for you to become like Christ. That's why the summary of discipleship in Ephesians chapter 4 verse 16 is that you grow into him in all things, even Christ, the head of the church. So if you are not transfiguring into Christ likeness, you are not in the will of God. Number two, the will of God is for intimacy. In Deuteronomy 32 verse 9, he said God's portion is his people. God's portion. I will talk about this as I go a bit further, but I'm trying to summarize now. That you be like God, so when men see you, they should see God through you. And number two, that you live in intimacy with God, worshiping him day and night. This is what they do in heaven. It doesn't end with time. The 24 elders, the Bible said in Revelation 4:11, forever and ever, they kept singing, holy, holy, holy is the Lord. Blessed is the one who is, who was, and who is to come. All things were created for thy pleasure. So you live in intimacy and worship of him, and on the strength of that, he mandates you to carry his kingdom, his sovereign reign, his government, his authority to every sphere that he has commissioned you into. And so if a man does not look like God, he's not in God's will. If a man is not transforming and transfiguring to Christ likeness, he's not in God's will. If a man is not living in intimacy and worship of God, he is not in God's will. And if a man does not have sufficient capacity to bring God's authority to wherever he is, he's not doing God's will. That's the summary of God's will. In your family, in your job, in your world, everywhere you are, your likeness of Christ and your intimacy with Christ should empower you enough to bring his authority to superimpose where you are living. If your life is summarized like this, then you are in the will of God.